Hi guys, welcome to my creative writing video for building a world. If you're watching this, you've probably already created a character. And once you have a character, the next step in creative writing, for fiction at least, is to start thinking about a world for your character. There is a really good chance that as you were creating your character, you already were kind of thinking about the world that they live in, because it's very hard to picture somebody without also picturing what's around them. But in this video, we're going to really kind of flesh out our world to make our writing that much better. I'm going to go ahead and show you over here on my screen why building a good world is so important. So the first thing is the obvious one. The world that you build is where your characters live. It's kind of hard to imagine somebody without picturing where they live. But more importantly than that, the world tends to be what gets in the way of what your characters want. In my character video, we talked about how important it is to know what your characters want. What is it that they look for? What is it that gets them out of bed in the morning? What motivates them? Well, a lot of the times, the world that they live in is going to get in the way of that. And the reason it's so important to know what it is exactly that's getting in the way of that is because that's where your plot comes from. So when you have your character and what they want, and then the world that they're surrounded by and how that gets in the way of what they want, that's what's going to push your story forward, is your character trying to make their way through this world to get what they want. There's your plot right there. The best analogy that I have to describe this is that a character without a good world for it, it's kind of like owning a car and not having any roads to drive on. A car can be really cool, but what are you going to do with that car if you don't have any roads? Even if it's the coolest car ever, well, you can't really go anywhere with it, you can't really drive it, so kind of really diminishes what you can do with the car. That's what it would be like if you had a really great character without having a good world for it. But the good news is you're here, you're going to build a good world, and so you're not going to have that problem. I'm going to, like in the last video, model for you guys what it's like to come up with a good world for your character. And if you're in my class, you're going to have a worksheet that goes along with it. So here we go. For my character that I've been working on in this video series, his name is Jared. And I thought that it'd be kind of interesting if he lived in a world that's more or less the same as the one that I live in, which is present-day California. And that's because the character of Jared is kind of based on me. Not entirely. It's kind of like a mix of me and a friend. But I live in California, and because this character is sort of based off of me, I figured let's just put him in California. In this world, along with Jared, he has classmates, the parents, and the people who live in his town, the residents. So that is who is in this world along with Jared. Those are the people in the world that are going to sort of factor into Jared's story in one way or another. And when I close my eyes and try to picture what this world looks like, the first thing that immediately comes to my mind is that the sun is never out in this world. It's not very sunny, it's always cloudy. And the colors that I see in my head when I imagine this world are gray, white, and faded blue. It's not a very wide color palette. It's just kind of in terms of color. And in terms of what this world feels like, this world is very dreary. It's boring in a painful kind of way. It's very soulless. When I picture this world, I feel tired and sad. There are not a whole lot of sounds or smells going on in this world. Everything in this world sounds very muffled. There's nothing interesting or nice in terms of sound. I definitely can't think of any smells when I close my eyes and picture this world. How does this world affect my character? It makes my character feel very burned out and sad and bored. Because my character, as I said in the last video, is kind of a low-key guy. He doesn't talk very much, but he does get excited about certain things. His big thing is space. But in this world that he's actually living in, there's nothing that excites him. And that's why he's so bored and sad all the time. There's just nothing there for him. The obstacles that this world creates is that my character really, really wishes that things were beautiful and interesting and peaceful. And this world is the opposite of that, and he has no idea where to go to escape. So this world is constantly getting in the way of what he wants. Now, in my example, I built a very sort of realistic world that is a lot like the world that I live in real life. But don't feel limited to that. You have so much control when you're building the world. I think this is one of the funnest parts of creative writing, actually, when you're writing fiction, is that you can come up with whatever crazy world you want. You can come up with something that's a lot like your life, or if you like to escape, you can come up with a crazy, like if you're writing something that's sci-fi, science fiction, you can come up with like a really cool space world. You can come up with a world that's different in very specific ways. It's really up to you. So I hope that you have a lot of fun building a world. I hope that you sort of take that control that you have and just go crazy with it. That's all I've got for you guys. See you in the next video.